Live.
All right. This episode is for Friday, November 21st, 2014. Welcome, Meteor fans. I'm your host, Josh Owens.
I'm Rye Walker.
Yeah, Rye Walker. Welcome, Rye. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So this week we will be talking about, we've got four main items, and then decided to throw in some other content. Just we're going to mention some videos as well. So we're going to be talking about what is Meteor Club, which I run, and then we'll also talk about the testing book and testing manual merging and that stuff. Meteor plus Polymer equals love. Is that, I think, going up at the end denotes a question, maybe? I don't know.
It's a question.
Yeah. All right. Everything you need to know about async and Meteor. Bender, dealing with page transitions and animations, and then the two videos that I'll mention at the end. And before we dive into that, you guys know we have sponsors. Heroku, not Heroku, Modulus. Listen with you guys. Let's see it if you're awake. Huh? Yeah? No? You don't believe me. All right. So
they're like a Heroku for Node, right?
Yeah. Modulus, Heroku for Node. Modulus.io, you can go there, sign up. They have a $25 coupon. They're seriously still the best Meteor host out there, so I would give them a shot if you're hosting an app. I may do a video soon on that, just showing how to get an app up. Seriously, it takes 3.5 minutes maybe. Yeah. 5 if you don't know what you're doing, maybe 6 if you're kind of a slow typer. But I definitely check them out. They have auto scaling support now. You can choose the size of your servo slugs or whatever they call them. A lot of great options, and super easy to scale out your app there. So Modulus.io, and the code is Meteor Podcast. And then our other sponsor is CodeShip.io. If you want to automate your testing and deployment procedures, which I'd highly recommend if you're doing running a startup or a SaaS app or something, go to CodeShip.io/Meteor Podcast, and you can sign up there for any of their plans. They have some free ones and some paid ones, and you can use the code Meteor Podcast and get 20% off any of their paid plans for 3 months. Awesome stuff. All right, so first up, what is Meteor Club? So there was a series of blog posts that came out, and really it was all kind of connected to the fact that I decided to stop writing the testing book. So now we decided to kind of, when I decided to stop, Rye jumped in and Tim jumped in, and they talked to Sam and figured out a deal. And so now if you purchase the testing book, you'll now have access to Sam's book instead. It's kind of a series of announcements about that. And then, honestly, I haven't talked a lot about Meteor Club, so wanted to just talk a little bit about that and kind of the things that I'm doing with the podcast and Crater and training and that kind of stuff. So, good read. And also kudos to Rye. He put out a blog post as well.
Yeah. No, at the end of the day, it's funny. Obviously, yes, you chose to not continue to write the book, but you want to turn lemonade out of lemons in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have an opportunity to support Sam and all the hard work he's done, not just with Velocity, but with the stuff he did before that, all the open source work he's done around testing and Meteor. So I'm actually, in a lot of ways, I'm actually happier with the state we're in now. We're all behind one guy, and kind of unified on that. So, it's I'm really looking forward to reviewing that and just jumping in. We still haven't. We do have some people now using Velocity here at Differential. I still haven't started using it yet, which is horrible. But I'm I'm probably programming like a quarter of my time right now.
Mm.
So when you have a quarter of your time available, it's hard to just spend that testing, and especially like getting into testing. Everyone's making that excuse out there, so I'm just validating that it's okay. No, it's not okay to act that way. I'm
It's totally
enabling
not
people.
okay.
I know I'm totally enabling the lazy out there, but no, it's something that's going to happen for me over the next couple of weeks. We're going to add some Cucumber tests to user cycles. So
Yeah, I would highly recommend. Like Sam and I have actually done a little bit of work here and there on Cucumber. He's driven most of it, but usually I'll jump in and help him test the testing framework.
yeah.
But
So did you
yeah,
guys like take that over from the other party, or what happened with that?
Sam just started it from scratch and just kind of looked at
As a
Greg's
reference.
previous work.
Got it.
So
Cool.
Sam's been killing it, and so as part of killing off the book that I was writing, and instead transitioning everyone over to Sam, I've been having some success with training classes. So Sam and I decided to partner up and do a training class as well. So we're going to be doing an intense 8 hours of getting up to speed with Meteor testing training class in January.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
All right.
Next,
Crap.
Meteor plus
Next
Polymer.
topic. Let's talk about Polymer. So probably a lot of you don't know what Polymer is. It's or what problem it's trying to solve. Why does it exist? We came across Polymer because our designer fell in love with the Google material design, which is a design spec that Google put out, and the implementation by Polymer is actually one of the best ones out there. So that's what brought us to even paying any attention at all to Polymer. But once I saw it and understood what was actually going on, it's basically one of these like HTML5 web specs from the future that the future eventually catches up to the present. So the whole concept of web components is really cool. I like to think of like really simple cases would be, like if you're dropping a MailChimp form onto your page right now, it's not just a tag. You have to it either has to do something with JavaScript, or it's going to be posting a post to a old school HTTP request, and the cool thing with Polymer is it's just HTML tags. It's the equivalent of HTML. It's like custom tags. It's sort of like what Angular gives Angular, except for that it's actually built into the standard for what HTML is. Most people aren't realizing, they don't know that this is like coming, but the concept of web components is an HTML5 standard, and so like when I looked at that, and then it's all going to be natively supported by the browsers, so it's these components will be compiled into the browser, sort of super performant. So there's all kinds of cool stuff going on with that. The reason why it's interesting to look at it with Meteor is, of course, Meteor is the best framework in the world, but it's proprietary. But these web components are non-proprietary. But yeah, the bottom line is it's a really interesting intersection. I understand the question from the poster was, it seems like this should be good, is it? And even at Differential, we're actually split on this. Like Nick Vintage, the Vintage. He says blah to this, and that's okay. I like it. I think it's cool, but it's still very, very early on all this stuff.
Yeah.
So we're doing three projects right now with Polymer that are included, and we'll at the end of that we'll know better. But so far so good.
I mean, you really you're kind of bolting it into Blaze then, right?
Yeah, we're not there is a part of it that conflicts with Blaze, but you can work with kind of the easy stuff works okay with all of Blaze. But then Polymer also has things like you can have a repeater, you can actually put a loop inside of a tag, sort of loop through these objects, and then that conflicts with Blaze. They both use the double curlies, so
right.
What we need is we actually need Meteor to support, and maybe it does. I don't know if it does. for me to say, don't use double curlies, use double brackets or whatever.
Well, so I mean, you probably could do something like that, because if you look at Jade, it works a little bit differently. So like, instead of doing double brackets with the angle bracket to bring in a template, you use like a plus.
Right.
So my guess is you could probably make like a Polymer templating language plugin.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, and then they get out of each other's way. But
Yeah.
so far, we're not even having a problem with that, because when we want to iterate through things, we just use Blaze.
Blaze.
And
Yeah. So
templates.
my understanding is like the early version of Blaze, I think the like 50,000 foot view was to get web component support into Blaze, but then when they wanted to get 0.8 shipped, I think the component stuff was pushed off to a later date. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see a lot more web component stuff built into 1.1 or 1.2 or something like that.
Yeah, and so I'm actually gonna. This is actually news to you, Josh. I'm actually going out to talk at the next Dev Shop about this stuff. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is this is breaking news. Like as of yesterday, this is the true statement. So.
Wait a minute. So you're going? They're doing one on December 4th. Is that when you're going out?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. So December 4th, I'm gonna go out and talk to them. I'm gonna actually talk with some of the Meteor people before that about the whole component card in Trello. Like it's right now. It's just there's like a placeholder like Meteor should have components. What does that mean? And we won't answer that question, but like I mean I think we should seriously look at, should it be the standard? I don't know. Maybe it should be. I was talking to Gerard today at lunch. Like, you could have like Meteor-specific components that aren't standard, but maybe they're close to standard, which would be good. So I don't know. We'll explore that a little bit, and I'm gonna demo what we've done so far on some of these apps. There's another part about Polymer, which is kind of a bad thing, in that like if you're using 20 different web components right now, it's actually 20 different HTTP requests to collect all those pieces.
I see.
That's what's called it's like an HTML import API is another new thing in HTML5. So this thing called an import statement, where you just say like, I want to import this HTML file, and it like sucks all that stuff in.
I see.
The problem is if you're using all these little atomic components, you might be using 30 in a website, and it's going to do all these HTTP requests. There's something called Vulcanize, which puts them all into one file. And we actually got that working today with the Meteor build process to run that Vulcanize process to concatenate all that stuff. So
nice.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the big barriers. One of our big concerns was like, this is going to really suck on like a mobile device, that's doing all these HTTPs. But there's a solution for that, and we're working on it. So I think it's really exciting stuff. We'll see. I'm not going to guarantee that it's actually going to be in the future, but for us so far, it's been fun to play with.
Yeah, you should blog about this, man.
Oh, I'm going to. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just like it's all developing. It's just we're halfway through some of these projects that, who knows, maybe we could run into some really gnarly problems near the end, but we'll see. Like especially in production, like what happens when lots of people are hitting on these apps. It's hard to say, but I can't really see a reason why it's going to fall down.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Next story is everything you need to know about async and Meteor. This I read this post, and like it had me like cracking up. I love the first off, I'll just say like the post itself is great, but the thing that had me cracking up was all the like little pen drawings that he had on here, just kind of explaining how synchronous versus asynchronous works and what fibers are doing and that kind of stuff. And he's got these little, drawings of like, hey, this is a fiber, and it's got like a smiley face on it, and then they're saying different things. It's funny. Reminds me of Why the Lucky Stuff. It is really good. Like he dives into, like he shows you some callback spaghetti, so you can get an idea of what asynchronous.
Who wrote
style
this post?
I don't know. You tell me, Rye. You tell me. Fook? Gwyn?
Gwyn? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll put that on you if you mispronounced it.
Actually, the funny thing is, I'm actually talking to this guy about some other stuff too. So,
all right.
Yeah, and that's my first thing. Like, I'm like, okay, first name. How do I say that? I
Yeah,
actually don't know. I haven't spoken with him. Just been emailing with him. But yeah,
that's funny.
I'll clear that up for next podcast.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, he's even got some memes in here.
Yeah.
I love posts with meme pictures, but um, he he breaks everything down and just kind of talks about fibers and why everything's wrapped in a fiber and why that is generally a good thing for writing your code. And no, I would highly recommend this read. Like this kind of goes hand in hand. Tom wrote a post for Discover Meteor that's kind of along these lines as well. So yet another good explanation of how this all works. So
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
stuff.
All right, Bender. All right, so one of the things you remember the early days of Meteor, Josh, before we figured out like waiting on data, how jolting it would be to transition from page to page.
Yes.
It was bad. Like it was actually usually okay in development, right? Like when you're in development, it's kind of cool to see like data fill in, like oh, that was kind of cool. The data
Yeah.
loaded, and then you put it in production, and it suddenly becomes not cool anymore. So like I think Meteor has started with this page transition problem, and is it solved? I don't know. Does Bender solve it?
I was looking at the package and it looks interesting. So you just put in a little CSS to kind of absolutely position the entire page, and then it looks like you just pop this thing in, and it even has Iron Router integration, so you can call like ironbender.go, and it'll handle doing the page transition as it gets to the new page. So
Yeah. So I haven't used it. It's Gabrielle Poca, maybe. I don't know. That would be the name on the GitHub or of the Meteor account.
yeah,
But yeah, so basically, right now, when you transition from route to route, right, it's kind of rough. This gives us some animations like sliding left, sliding right, up or down.
yeah,
Which obviously looks super awesome on mobile, and you kind of expect a mobile app to act this way.
mm-hmm.
And then so if you're tired of the kind of jolting jump from A to B, this will probably, like, because things are moving, it'd be easier to kind of hide any sort of odd animations that are happening with data too, since the screen's moving as it's happening too. So yeah, I think it's definitely something to try out. I might try it out on an app here soon.
Yeah.
Looks pretty easy to add.
Yeah, I mean, we used to have something like this, right? So Tom Coleman wrote Iron Transitioner, but if you look, that thing hasn't been touched since May, and it has a note about like working with 0.8. And my guess is with all the crazy changes that have happened to Iron Router, like Iron Transitioner may not even work. So
Yeah.
glad to see someone's thinking about it.
Yeah. So yep, that's a good one. What else
All
we
right.
got?
So the last two, I'll just mention. We'll have a link in the show notes, but they're just videos, and I thought they were good. The first one was from Dean Radcliffe, who I can say his name, but apparently not spell his name. I misspelled it in the show notes last time, but he was using JS Fiddle, and I thought this was kind of cool. And he did form validation using, I think he was using Tracker, and so he figured out how to get Tracker to just load as an independent library, and the video walks you through how to do form validation using Tracker on JS Fiddle, which is kind of cool. So it's 9 minutes. Give it a watch.
Yeah,
it's worth it.
Yep, I don't have anything to add to that.
Yeah, and then the last one is just yesterday I did the Meteor Club with Chris Mather. Always fun to have people on and talk about what they're working on and let the audience ask a ton of questions. And so that was about an hour long, and it's a good watch. Chris talks about a lot of different things like managing open source projects, and some people ask some questions about Iron Router specifically and Invented Mind. So good watch, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I haven't watched that either. It's in the tab on my window in my browser though right now. Like,
Nice.
couldn't watch it last night and couldn't get to it today. But yeah, that's awesome. I really look forward to. I always love hearing Chris talk. He's such a smart dude.
Yeah. So like he's got this mannerism about him where, he just seems like wound up and nervous. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like afterwards, I felt like really wound up after we had that talk. It was funny.
Yeah, he's intense. I think intense is what you're thinking.
Yes, perhaps that's the right word.
Yeah.
He's an intense guy.
Well, cool. Let's see.
Well,
Will we have an episode next week with Thanksgiving? Maybe not.
I wasn't
Maybe.
planning on it because
Yeah.
like you can see behind me if you're watching on YouTube or wherever. If you're watching the video, you can see like boxes. Like we're packing and tentatively we're closing Wednesday, and we were talking about moving Friday, but it looks like we might move the Tuesday after. So either way, with the holiday, I think maybe we'll just take another week off here.
Yeah, I think no, and then I'll be out in San Francisco the following Friday, but I could probably still do it.
Yeah, so it's up to you. You can do it, or I can find a fill-in. So if any listeners want to tweet at me, we can figure that out too.
Steal my spot, hashtag.
Yeah, there you go. Hashtag steal my spot.
Yeah. Now, yeah, that's great. Good call.
All right.
Looking forward to getting out there next. I'm out there in 2 weeks, so I'm really excited to go out there and hang out with those guys. I'll have some good stuff to talk about after that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, man.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you guys. Bye.